New York Giants fans, you should be excited. I'm excited. Jameis Winston is coming to New York. 2 years, $8 million. They got him for less than, you know what? It doesn't even matter. 2 years, $8 million. It tells me a couple things. We're going to get into it. I can't wait to talk about it. I didn't know if I was coming back with a pod this week, but now I know I am. I'm Coach Gene Clemons, and I have a giant issue. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to another edition of A Giant Issue. I am Coach Gene Clemons, New York Giants on SI. That's where you get all of your New York Giants news and information. Make sure you go over there. Full disclosure, I am recording this at 8:21 p.m. on Friday night. The NCAA tournament is going on. There is the World Championship indoor track. If you know anything about me, you know track. But once the news came across that Jameis Winston was going to be the guy, well, at least that he was signing, let's not say he's the guy. But when the news came across that Jameis Winston was signing with the Giants, I had to come and talk to you first. You know why? Because it just wasn't much to talk about. There was a lot of rumors. There were a lot of conjecture. There was a lot of people saying what they thought might happen and what they didn't happen. And almost none of it included Jameis Winston. I also heard some people out there in Big Blue Nation vow that they would give up their season tickets if Jameis Winston was the quarterback, that they would walk away from the team and go join a winner if Jameis Winston was the quarterback. Well, now guess what? He's here to call your bluff. I don't believe you. And you know why I don't believe you? Because I believe when you start to see some of the things that Jameis Winston's arm talent affords him, his toughness affords him, his intelligence, his humor, his leadership, when you start to see some of those things that he brings to the table, you're going to most likely fall in love with him the same way that many Buccaneers fans fell in love with him, the same way that many New Orleans Saints fans fell in love with him, the same way that a lot of Browns fans fell in love with him. I think that you have a chance to see a guy who understands what's going on in this climate in the NFL that can come and do the things that you want to see done for this team. You should be excited. I'm giddy. I want to talk about it. But first, I want to talk about what didn't happen. The Giants did not sign Aaron Rodgers. Now, I've been on record as saying that I didn't think Aaron Rodgers was the move. Like that I thought that the Giants should make a bridge gap quarterback, but it shouldn't be a guy like Aaron Rodgers, because I did not believe that a guy like Rodgers was coming to essentially transition the position to another guy. Not humble, not somebody willing to admit that maybe his best days are behind him, not somebody willing to come in and fight as hard as he can to be the starter. But once it wasn't his time to be the starter anymore, would fade into the background graciously and accept that role. So I didn't think it would be a good idea to bring Aaron Rodgers in. I also thought about Russell Wilson. And I don't think Russell Wilson is at the point in his career where he's ready to be the guy who acquiesces or turns it over to another guy because he's not the man. The interesting thing about Winston to me, and why I liked him over any other bridge quarterback not named Tyrod Taylor, and maybe even over Tyrod Taylor, because he's a little bit more durable than Taylor. Well, not a little bit more. He's more durable than Taylor is. But the reason I like them is because he's willing to be the best he can be in whatever role you give him on the team. That can't be undersold. There are a lot of quarterbacks out here that are not willing to accept the role that is given to them and thrive in it. Jameis Winston, if you tell Jameis Winston, hey, listen, you're the starter, he is going to work his butt off to be the best starting quarterback on your team. Is he perfect? No. Will he make mistakes? Yes. But he's going to work his butt off to be the best starting quarterback, to be the best leader that you have of your football team. If you tell Jameis Winston, hey, listen, you're the backup, we need you to mentor this young quarterback that we just brought in, he's going to be the best backup mentor quarterback that you can have on your team. He's going to go out of his way to make sure that that young quarterback is protected, to make sure that that young quarterback knows how to avoid some of the slings and arrows that he had to endure when he came through in his time. Remember, he's a former #1 overall pick. So it's not like if you get a Shedeur Sanders, if you get a Cam Ward, that he won't have anything in common with those guys. He won't know how to mentor those guys. None of those other dudes can say that. Russell Wilson wasn't a former #1 overall pick, so he doesn't understand what it's like to have that level of pressure. Aaron Rodgers got a chance to come sit for seasons and learn. And then when he took over, nobody was expecting him to be Brett Favre, right? Nobody expected him to be that level good. He just was all-time good. But Winston is able to talk about the pressure that comes with being a high draft pick. If not the #1 pick, the #1 pick for a team as a quarterback who's expected to be the franchise. I think that's a beautiful place to get a guy to come in. Nobody else, no other guy can make that claim that's out there on the market right now to come in and be that dude and then also be able to have the talents that you need in order to get this thing done. So while I thought that if they got Aaron Rodgers would probably would definitely improve the quarterback position. That's no doubt. He's not washed. He's just washed compared to what you used to know about Aaron Rodgers. So while I thought that he could come in and improve at the position, I just didn't think it was a great opportunity to do so because I didn't think he would transition well, right? Not only did I not like Russell Wilson, but I didn't think that Russell Wilson's skill sets worked for New York. Russell Wilson can't run anymore. He is not a guy who is going to be a weapon with his legs because he can't outrun people anymore. He used to be able to outrun people, and that's what made him so dangerous when he broke the pocket. Now he can't outrun people. Now then you add in the arm strength that's lacking. Now you add in the winds and those breezes that come off the ocean when you're talking about New York, the elements, right? You add all of those things in, and I just was like, man, I don't know if this is the thing. Like I like throwing the deep ball, jump ball, 50-50 balls up, the moon balls as people call them. That's not how the Giants want to attack vertically. They want to attack vertically and catch some people in stride so they can go. That's just not what Russell Wilson is doing. He hasn't done that for a very long time. So when I look at the skill set, right, I say it didn't really fit for him. And when I look at it from a mentor transitionship, I don't think it worked for either one of those guys, but it's perfect for Jameis Winston. And then the contract. Like, I'm on Joe Schoen a lot, and I'm going to remain on Joe Schoen a lot. Pause. But the reason I'm on him is because you have to make better decisions. You have to make savvier moves to keep an Azeez Ojulari and not trade him away, even if it's for a ham sandwich at the trade deadline, then to allow him to walk right over to the enemy for a ham sandwich is not a smart move, in my opinion. Like, that guy is a potential double-digit sack guy. And to have a guy who has potential to be a double-digit sack guy as part of a rotation, because you need more than two, right? You need more than two, but to be a part of a rotation only makes sense to me. They allowed him to let him go. So I've been critical. But to get Jameis Winston, who could very well end up being your starting quarterback, to get him for $8 million a year, sorry, not $8 million a year, to get him on a 2-year, $8 million contract means that you not only have your starting quarterback this year, right? But if you draft a quarterback, say you draft a Shedeur Sanders, say you draft a Cam Ward, and you decide, hey, we're going to let them redshirt this year. We don't want to throw them into the fire. We're gonna put them on a Patrick Mahomes plan, right? You've got your starting quarterback for cheap, which means that you can build around him, support him in every way you possibly can, before you then turn around and have one of the cheapest backups who's a starting caliber quarterback in 2026. It's great. It's great. And you still have Tommy DeVito on the roster, because he is still the quarterback who understands the offense the best. It's a win-win. That is a move. That is a savvy move. That is an out-of-the-box move. That is a move that might not get a lot of applause from fans, because fans want to see the sexy names like Russell Wilson and Aaron Rodgers, but it is a move that allows you to still have the flexibility to do different things. Let's say that the Giants decide they don't want to go quarterback in the first round, that they want to maybe wait till the second round, the third round. They want to grab a guy like Jalen Milroe. And we know a lot of people don't believe Jalen Milroe is ready to start football games right now, but a lot of people would like to see what happens if that upside, if that potential is tapped. Well, now you just put him underneath the mentorship of Jameis Winston. Let's say you let Jameis Winston rock out for 2 years at essentially $4 million APY, $4 million a year for a starting quarterback in the NFL. They just paid dudes $40 million. They paid $40 million, $38 million, $35 million, $46 million, $50 million for quarterbacks. You get one at $4 million a year, that can't be undersold. So applause to Joe Schoen for a move that may not get all the fanfare, for a move that may not get people excited, but for a move that makes all the football sense in the world. Because whether you want him to be your starter or whether you want him to be your backup, you've got a guy who's going to understand that role. Let's talk about what he brings to the table. We already know that Winston, forever since high school, has had one of the most talented arms in the game. One of the most talented arms in high school, one of the most talented arms in college, and still one of the most talented arms in the NFL. And because of injury and being a backup, his 31 isn't like a regular 31. His 31 is actually younger. There's a chance that Jameis Winston could have a Geno Smith, right? He could have a Geno Smith-like resurgence, a Geno Smith-like second act, a Baker Mayfield-like second act. If Jameis Winston goes out there, I guarantee you, you don't even have to worry about it. You can call me out. I will not. I guarantee you, Jameis Winston will not have a 17 touchdown season. Jameis Winston will not have a season where he only throws for 17 passing touchdowns. That's just not what Jameis Winston is here to do. If he starts a full season, he's getting into the high 20s, low 30s, or beyond, because that's just who he is. That's what he's capable of doing. And not for nothing, right? Not for nothing, I know the retort that some of you are going to have. Oh, well, yeah, he'll throw a lot of touchdowns, but he'll also throw a lot of interceptions. Ladies and gentlemen, I would like to present for you Eli Manning. Eli Manning. And here's what I'll do, because I don't want to just be the guy who like cherry picks the early numbers and go, oh, well, yeah, this is what he did. So I'm not even going to talk about the year 2 where he threw for 24 touchdowns and 17 interceptions. The year 3 when he threw for 24 touchdowns and 18 interceptions. The year 4 when he threw for 23 touchdowns and 20 interceptions. Right? I'm not going to talk about the year 7 when he threw for 31 touchdowns and 25. That in 25, 31 touchdowns, 25 interceptions. That was in year 7. Jameis Winston threw 30, 5 more than Eli Manning did in his 5th year. He threw for 30 in his 5th year. Eli Manning threw for 25 in his 7th year, all with the same regime. I'm not going to talk about it. Jameis Winston has been in the league for 10 years, right? And people talk about the interceptions. In year 10, Eli Manning threw 18 touchdowns and 27 interceptions. That was year 10. 27 interceptions in year 10. I'm not saying anything to bag on Eli Manning. I'm telling you that if you start using the interception, oh, he throws a lot of interceptions, Giants fans, you should be uniquely ready to endure the interceptions, because you know what is going to happen on the other end. Here's what Eli Manning did the 2 years after he threw 18 touchdowns and 27 interceptions. 30 touchdowns, 14 interceptions. 35 touchdowns, 14 interceptions. I'm going to ask you a serious question, and I want you to be honest. If Jameis Winston comes out here and throws for over 4,000 yards, 30 touchdowns, and 14 interceptions, do you just want him to be your quarterback? Eli Manning was 33 years old when he did that. He was your quarterback for another 5 seasons after that. He was 33. Jameis Winston just turned 31. If Jameis Winston comes out, and this is all an if he is the starting quarterback for the year, and he goes, oh, by the way, if he's the starting quarterback for a year, there's some guarantees. He's throwing for over 4,000 yards. Sorry, he's going to do it. He's going to throw for over 4,000 yards. But if he throws for over 4,000 yards and he has a 2-to-1 touchdown to interception ratio, do you want him to be your starting quarterback in 2026? Do you want to see if he can run that back again? Because that's what it's going to come down to. Or are you going to find reasons to pick apart what he did and want to turn it over to somebody else? And for the record, I don't care who the other person is. You can go out there and get anybody. If Jameis Winston throws for 4,000 yards, 30 touchdowns, and 14 interceptions, I want to see him as the quarterback in 2026. That ain't going to hurt any rookie that you get to sit for a second year, maybe even a third year. We've seen it work in Green Bay twice. Twice we've seen it work. Are we going to be hypocritical just because it's J-Boo? J-Boo wins and he gets it done a little bit differently than other people do? Is that what we're going to do? Or are we going to just be honest if a guy who in a 10-year career where he's only started 5 years, and in those 5 years, it wasn't even like he started every single season. He probably has a total of 6 and some change years of starting. Has 24,000 passing yards, 154 touchdowns. He has 111 interceptions. But those interceptions, and this is what you're going to figure out about Winston, and this is where he can still improve, those interceptions come in bunches. They normally come when the team is down and Jameis Winston is trying to, by himself, throw them back into the game. That is normally where he runs into trouble. But don't forget, this is the same Jameis Winston that with that moribund offense in Cleveland that couldn't score at all, went out and beat Pittsburgh and the Baltimore Ravens. This is a guy who just last year in that moribund offense that does not have a Malik Neighbors, that does not have a Darius Slayton and a Wan'Dale Robinson and a Jalen Hyatt who should be really excited about this because Winston will throw you the ball. And 2 tight ends that have been taken who are decent, who can move the chains for you. In that offense, threw in one game for almost 500 yards. That guy is coming. See, don't just spend your time trying to dwell on the negative. Oh, well, Jameis Winston's thrown a lot of interceptions. What else has he done? Oh, well, Jameis Winston hasn't done a lot of winning. Where has he had the opportunity to win? The Buccaneers were a laughingstock when he got to Tampa Bay. The Buccaneers hadn't been good in years. Hadn't made the playoffs in years. Mismanaged money, cheap, not spending money. When did he have the chance to win? When he went to New Orleans, he was the backup. When he got a chance to be the starter that season, he had double-digit touchdowns, only 4 interceptions, I believe, and then got hurt and never really regained the starting job. Never really regained the starting job. And I don't want to misspeak, so I'm going to look it up because I know somebody will be in the comments saying, oh, no, he had whatever. But that 1 year that he got a chance to legitimately start in New Orleans, yep, here it is. The 1 year he got to legitimately start in New Orleans, he started 7 games. He went 5-2. He had 14 touchdowns and 3 interceptions. I believe that was Sean Payton's last year. I believe it was. Because he had a year off after that. Then he came back. Or it might have been the year, like that very year that he retired. I can't remember perfect. But he had 14 touchdowns and 3 interceptions in 7 games. He was on his way to 30, and let's just say, let's say for the sake of he was going to have one of those games where he threw 3 interceptions, right? Let's say if he had 30 and 12. You're not signing up for that? You're not jumping on board with that? He started 7 games last year. He played in 12, but he started 7 games. 2,100 yards and 13 touchdowns. If we're just looking at the positives, because we know what the negative is, right? Oh, well, he throws too many interceptions. How many of those interceptions that he threw came off the hands of wide receivers? How many of those interceptions that he threw were because a receiver didn't make the right move. We see it all the time, right? I remember in Tampa Bay, he threw a lot of interceptions that year when he had 30. Some of those interceptions were, or a lot of those interceptions were his fault. Some of them were not. Are we talking about a different Jameis Winston if he throws 31 touchdowns and, I don't know, 22 interceptions? Of course we are. Because if we're not, then somebody would say Peyton Manning had more than 22 interceptions. Somebody would say Eli Manning had more than 22 interceptions. But because we're talking about 30, right? Because we're talking about 30, that is what he's known for. And why? Because he's never had a chance to erase that off of his docket. I don't even know if Jameis Winston is going to start for the Giants. I think that all depends on what they're trying to do. Hey, this could be a situation where they still end up with another veteran quarterback, right? Because they're not planning to take a quarterback in the draft. They might still go out and get Aaron Rodgers. And now they've got an insurance with Jameis Winston because Aaron Rodgers missed an entire season with a blown Achilles, right? So they might do that. I don't see them doing that and then signing Jameis Winston and then going to get Wilson. But my brain, my football instincts as a football guy tells me that they signed Jameis Winston because the plan is to go get a rookie and have that rookie have a Jameis Winston mentor in front of him. Whether that's a mentor who begins the season as a starter, acquiesce, and then becomes like the OG, the big brother, whether he is the starter all season and then turns it over to him in year 2 or year 3, whether he's not the starter at all and he's just there to support whoever the starting quarterback rookie is, it's all good. We all win because Jay Boo wins. And that's a beautiful thing. So allow me to be the person to say it. Welcome, Jameis Winston. And I hope to get an opportunity to talk to him because I feel like I might be the only person in New York, or at least that covers the New York Giants, who would really give him a legitimate, honest opportunity to be successful. I'll also criticize him, though. When the criticism is necessary, I'll criticize him. But I'm going to give him his flowers if he does well, and I have no doubt that he does well. If they throw the ball like they threw the ball last year with Jameis Winston in there, Malik Neighbors might go for 2,000 yards. If they throw the ball like they threw the ball last year with Jameis Winston in there, I guarantee you Wan'Dale Robinson is going to average more than a single digit on his yards per reception. If they throw the ball like they threw the ball last year with Jameis Winston there, you're going to see Jalen Hyatt make some plays. You're going to see Darius Slayton get more opportunities down the field. It's going to open up the run game. The most underrated thing about what the Giants did last year is they improved the offensive line. And this offseason, everybody said, hey, you still got to get better on the offensive line. When everybody was healthy, the offensive line did its job. It was the quarterback that didn't. It wasn't until the offensive line, Andrew Thomas specifically, went down that then it became evident, okay, we need some depth. And if Andrew Thomas is healthy on the left side, right? If he's healthy on the left side and then everything is equal, if they don't put Evan Neal over there at right guard and let Van Roten be what he was supposed to be when he came in, which was the backup center guard / guy, but they don't even need him as a guard anymore because they have Jake Kubis, who I believe is probably as good as their starting guards right now anyway. So they have a backup guard that could be on both sides that are just as good as the starting guards. He's no Evan Neal, though. So if you add Evan Neal in, and I still say you should put Evan Neal to the left side and turn that into the most dominant run side, the run game opens up. The pass protection is better. Jameis has time. He has athleticism. He has enough athleticism to get away. He's durable. He's tough. And he's accountable. What else can you want? Ladies and gentlemen, make sure that you are hitting that subscribe button. You need to be with us. You need to be here. Bam, 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 bam. Also, check it out tomorrow morning. Again, I'm telling you, right now I am recording this at 8 o'clock at night on a Friday. So Saturday morning, check out my good, great, and ugly on Jameis Winston on the New York Giants on SI. Check that out. And every GGU, I'm going to have a good amount of them dropping this coming week. You want to check out everything we're doing over at the New York Giants on SI. Check out the mock draft Monday. Make sure you're checking out all the other stuff. It's a smorgasbord of Giants information over there. And now that we have a quarterback domino that's fallen, the juice is back. I'm Coach Gene Clemons, and I have a giant issue.